I'm under them. So anybody that's rushing to Decatur or other towns to buy commodity items like flour and sugar and milk and eggs and things that matter are fooling themselves. We are cheaper or as cheap on all the items that matter, and I make sure of that.
And as Dave always says,
hope to see you soon.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the phone today, State Senator Sen Turner. Sally, how are you?
Hi, Seth. Doing good. Driving to Springfield. I left a tiny bit early because it's really foggy out here today.
Is it really foggy out there? Sure, you're not on 121, are you?
I am on the Death Trap Road.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this, for anybody that's listening that's on 121, please drive the speed limit and don't tailgate. It's a horrible road. We have so many accidents on this road.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, I'm on 121, and then I cut over to 54 and go up. Or else through Elkhart.
I gotcha. Sure. Well, Sally, I tell you, the governor gave his budget address yesterday. What'd you think? What'd you come away with?
Well, I'll give you the good parts. One of the good parts was it didn't last very long. Yay. And so that was really good. And then not having to sit there and listen to pages and pages of budget address is one thing, but also there was no disparaging remarks about us as a party, which I appreciated, because last year it was not very good at all. You may remember that, Seth. I think we talked about that.
Well, of course not. He's got to get reelected in a few weeks or in a few months. He can't be calling names. He can't be calling names in the middle of trying to get reelected.
Yeah, right. A big part of the speech, kind of in the middle, was a lot of bashing the federal government, but specifically bashing Trump, of course.
Of course.
And that always gives you the idea that, okay, you are going to run for president. Is that what you're doing? We wanted to hear more of a focus on what's happening in Illinois and how are you going to help Illinoisans. And what you and I were talking earlier, what I didn't hear was how are you going to help us afford everyday things that we talk about around the kitchen table, like my insurance, my groceries, my electric bill. I mean, some people's electric bill went from $200 to $900. I mean, these are things that we do have legislation out there to help in those circumstances, but I don't know that we'll hear any of that come to be brought up in the legislature this year.
What did you want to hear on that front, Sally? Like anything specific about whether it's energy, about whether it's cost of living, like groceries, property taxes? What were you specifically wanting to hear? Is there something that Illinois Republicans were putting out there that they wanted in this budget proposal?
Yeah, I will start with the caveat that he did talk about nuclear power, which is great, and trying to push that forward more in a more timely fashion. And yes, that's exactly what we need. However, we also need to bump up our gas and gas plants, which are peaker plants. That will help our energy costs immensely. And those coal plants that are still firing, they're wondering, are we going to shut down or aren't we going to shut down? So if they're still telling them they're going to shut down in 2030, they're going to go ahead and start with the processes of shutting down. So, but we need some of that energy to help us continue and bring down our electric and gas bills. If we don't do that, they want us to pull in this power from other states that are burning dirty coal. Our coal is not as dirty as some of the out east. As you probably know. So that's just a little bit about energy. Another thing about energy is I wanted to see him talk about maybe taking out, sorry, I'm driving, about the energy bill, the CEJA Act that passed. to give us back local control. Give us back local control so that we can deal with siting, if things are too close to us, that we can have maybe a limit of how many windmills or solar farms that we can have in our area. I didn't hear any of that, and I wanted to hear that, how that was going to help us. Those are just a couple things about energy.
Yeah.
Property taxes, property taxes, there's a lot that could be done about that. We don't want our state government to be taking over our schools. That's not the answer. Part of the answer is what we tax here. One of the things being wind and solar get taxed at a lesser amount. The first time they got evaluated, which was wind, was in 2006, and it hasn't been evaluated again since. So that's one of the bills that I have, is that let's take a harder look at that and increase the taxes on those, not on the people's property, but on those windmills or those solar farms. And then from that, we get a increased DAB, which brings our rate down, and we don't have to pay as much in taxes.
Sure. Again, our guest on the phone today is State Senator Sally Turner. So, Sally, and I want to bring up one more thing, because I always appreciate the way that Chapin Rose addresses things. And one thing he talked about, I saw a video of him talking last night. One thing he talked about is, since Governor Pritzker has come into office, funding for the developmentally disabled, places like Human Resources and, our mental health institutions in various communities, funding for those has gradually declined since the governor came into office. How about that? How about that side?
Yeah. So, I appreciate that Chapin talks about that quite a bit. It's something he's very passionate about. I believe that in this budget, there was like $150 million increase. However, that increase doesn't still bring us up to the amount that we should have been at or should be at to help with the developmentally disabled. There's a small increase for home services programs, and there's some increase for mental health beds. Some of those things are increases, but not at the amount that we need them to. So the juggling of dollars, what are you passionate about? Well, we think he should be passionate about this issue, not about perhaps continuing on with some of the welcome to Illinois immigration programs that we have.
Yeah, what is that funding looking like this year?
Haven't looked at the giant budget yet to see what that looks like.
Okay.
We just got to, we only got his speech like an hour before. And then, of course, we're starting to parse through it. However, I will say that, like in any budget for any taxing district, budgets are always just a guess. And in his guess that he did, he bumped it up, padding the budget. I believe it was $200 million extra for, he wants to tax the social media, excuse me, the social media groups like Facebook and all those types of things for their users. So that would be a tax that would come back to Illinois. So if we see that, it's not you as a user that uses Facebook, but Facebook, if you had whatever, 1 million users, you'd get taxed at that amount for all your users in Illinois. But that's padding the budget. So we don't see that. It's not real money. It's a guess. So that's like every budget is, taking a guess, see what you can shoot for.
Well, and that's just, Sally, is there an aspect of your life that the state of Illinois isn't going to come after? I mean, honestly, is there anywhere in your life that is not protected from the state of Illinois? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. Let's tax everything. We know that Illinoisans are burdened with taxes. We're tired of being taxed to death. That's why people are leaving here. We're overtaxed and we're overburdened and overspent.
Yeah. I had always had this idea that downstate Illinois was somewhat insulated from the idea of property taxes being really high. And we are to a degree. And, just kind of like, that's a Chicago thing. That's a suburbs thing, where those property values are huge and the cost of living is enormous and all of that. And I was talking to a friend who lives in Illinois now, but spent a good amount of time. He lived in Indiana. And he said, you move from Illinois to Indiana, your property tax bill automatically declines by 40% just by default. Just by moving to Indiana, your property tax bill drops by 40%, So that surprised me. That surprised me to hear that.
Yeah. Chapin has the eastern side of the state, and that's something that he hears commonly all the time. It's all I have to do is move over a few feet and I'll be in Indiana and make that my residence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Anything else out of the budget, Sally? The proposal, at least?
There was another good thing is that what we were concerned about is downstate funding because of that transportation bill. We were worried about our roads. There is a $500 million mention of new funding to DOT to enhance their multi-year improvement program for road and bridge construction. So that is helpful for us downstaters. So that's a plus.
Very good. So what happens next, Sally? The governor's got his budget proposal, and I'm sure all parties are going to be at the table to talk about what's best for the state of Illinois in the next couple of months as we approach that May 31st deadline, right? Everybody's going to have a seat at the table and a say in this process, right?
Right. Yeah, sure. When you're in the super minority and you represent an area that's in the super minority, you don't have the opportunity to be able to offer a lot of changes. We could put them out there. I'm one of the budgeteers. It's Chapin Rose, myself, Senator DeWitt from up north in the Crystal Lake area, I believe, and then Senator Bocklema, which is just kind of north of Bloomington on that rural side of up in that area, pretty much farming area, and then Senator Seth Lewis. So we get together and discuss what are the areas that we see that you could cut back on, or needs that we have in our area that are monumental. We are going to see like DCEO grants and things like that, like we always see. Hey, by the way, if I cut out, it's because I'm on 54 and it's a low area, and sometimes you cut out here. Anyway, there'll be some grants for different funding. And one of the things I think that I know it affected cement in a great way, is there's some new grant money that's out there from DCEO that they're going to be using. It's like the Illinois Environmental Protection Act agency to expand their water loan programs. It's like a bonding for grants for water infrastructure projects. And that is something that's really important, and that is something that's very much needed in a lot of our smaller communities. So that's something I think that is important. I guess I forgot to mention about that earlier.
Sally, I'll tell you what, let's take a break and come back. I've got something I want you to weigh in on. It's kind of coming across the wire now, if that's all right. I'll give you a sneak peek when we're talking in the break, but let's break here if that's okay. State Senator Sally Turner, our guest on the phone today. More to come with the senator on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network, a steady start for corn and beans. Wheat opening higher. March corn 4.25 3/4 down 1 1/4. May corn down 1.5, 4.35 1/4. December new crop 4.59 3/4 down 1 1/4. March beans opening 11.33 1/2 unchanged. May beans down 1/2 penny 11.48 1/2. New crop November 11.13 1/2 down 3. March Chicago wheat 5.52 3/4 up 5 3/4. May wheat up 6 1/4 5.58 3/4. July wheat 5.66 up 6 1/4. March KC wheat 5.57 1/4 up 6 1/4. March bean meal down 80 cents 303.10, and March bean oil up 28 cents 58.87. Opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday morning. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
This is Inside.
It's time to celebrate winter. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have extra savings on all new Chevrolets this month to celebrate the winter season. See our inventory of Chevrolet Trailblazers, Blazers, and the efficient Trax. We also have a good selection of our 7-passenger Chevrolet Traverse and Tahoes. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. See our winter celebration savings at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton, talking about continuing to serve the community through new ownership.
Things came together and we reached an agreement to purchase. And as you mentioned, we closed August the 1st. So that's August the 1st. Miller Media Group is now Hart Media Group. And we're continuing to serve the people of Clinton and DeWitt County and Monticello and Bloomington and Decatur and everywhere, because we'll just keep connecting people as we've been doing.
The Hart Media Group looks forward to continuing to serve the community for years to come.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. State Senator Sally Turner on the Zoom or on the phone with us here for this morning. Sally, reports starting to surface. The Bears today going to announce they're moving to Hammond, Indiana.
Well, that's right on the other side of Chicago. That's an easy step, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not privy to all of that talk. I sure hope that doesn't happen. The last I mentioned to anybody that lobbied for the Bears was, hey, come on back down to Decatur. That's where the Bears started. We got room for you there.
Yep.
Right? Someone said, yeah, that's like in 1957. And yeah, come on down. Central Illinois can help you out down here. I also added, we got some extra room at Lincoln Developmental Center and at Lincoln College. You can put your stadium there for free.
Yep. No, that seems that's the scuttlebutt. They're going to announce today they're moving to Indiana. We'll see if.
Where'd you get that news line?
There's a couple of AP sources that are on X right now that are talking about it, or a couple AP writers that are talking about it right now. I actually got tipped off about it by a friend of mine from Indiana. So, but it sounds like they've got a spot in Hammond. They've got taxes worked out with the state, and it looks like they could announce that today. We'll see. I know I saw that.
I get it.
Yeah, I saw that the state had, or the legislature had canceled some sort of committee meeting that would have taken up the Arlington Heights proposal. So I don't know. Maybe Kevin Warren and the Bears are tired of dealing with the state.
Yeah, I think it's all that probably would come through the exec committee, and they did not have any executive committee meetings. I know there was a bunch of bills that got pushed out in assignments the other day, but we didn't have an executive meeting, so maybe that was one of them. But I will also mention that I want to say something real quick about assignments committee. So I'm on the assignments committee, and now I'm the minority spokesperson for the assignments committee. However, I think it's I want folks to understand that being on the assignments committee, sorry, I keep saying kitty, being on that committee, that is just a pass-through agent, and I can't get bills assigned to committees. They come to me from the Democrat leadership and say, here's the bills that are going to be assigned to committee. The Republicans have no say-so as to what bills get pushed through. So I think that's important to note, that if it's something that's really important and you see that there's a bill in assignments that you want to be pushed out, that whoever it is that's interested in a certain bill, call that bill's author, that bill's sponsor, and ask them to help move that out.
Very good. Well, Sally, I know that you mentioned to me before we came back on, you're going to be talking with, is it Farm Bureau Young Leaders? Are the who was is something ag related? Forgive me, I can't remember.
Yeah. No, you're right. At 11 o'clock at the library, I'll be talking to them. It's a great group. I look forward to talking to them. Talk to them a little bit more about my Young Farmers Bill that got passed earlier, I guess that was in the fall. This will affect a lot of those folks as they continue on to be farmers later on as they get out of school. And I look forward to working with Director Costello. We're going to start working a little bit more closely together and to get this program up and running.
Very good. Very good. Sally, anything you're working on this spring in the legislative session?
There's a lot of our bills have been refiled, which were the same bills that we introduced previously in the fall session. But recently, the bills that I was asked to carry are mostly for agencies, like for a park district, asking for something specific about filing a bond or same things of that nature. Most of them are kind of mundane. There's nothing really big and powerful that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone wants to look up any of my bills that I've filed, then can go to the ilga.gov website and take a look at all the legislators and see what bills that they had filed.
Gotcha. Very good. Very good. On that note, Sally, 1 minute left with you here this morning. Anything we haven't touched on you want to put out there? Anything going on in your neck of the woods you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I've been out of the neck of the woods, out of the district the last few days, so I haven't seen it. But man, there's a lot of sickness going around, that's for sure. So I want everybody to make sure that they wash their hands and pay attention, that if they're ill, they stay home. Yeah, we had that go down in our office, and I was sick a couple weeks ago too. So other than that, I just want to tell everybody hello and thank you for their support, and get out and vote.
On that note, Sally, we appreciate your time as always, and we'll catch up with you next month.
Thanks, Talk to you later.
Enjoy your time in Springfield. State Senator Sally Turner on the phone with us here for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
The Big 15